Doc, it's Nurse Micah. I'm calling you in regards to one of your patients, Evelyn Sage. You see, she's been complaining of feeling rather blue today, and now she's exhibiting some strange psychological behaviors, and she's vomiting blood. What orders do you want me to put in for her? Okay, so you're out of town and you want me to take over the orders on this patient? Okay. Evelyn Sage, your prognosis is not good. It seems as if you only have until October the 15th.
Spooky Lou Carbon Barker coming to you with another very, very, very special episode of the WrestleRoni. Oh my goodness, what do we have lined up today? What an episode. I hope you're ready. I'm ready. You ain't ready, because let me tell you what's going on right now. Joining us live via Discord, we have the one and only Nurse Micah. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Couldn't be better. I think we're all in a pretty happy spot currently for the holidays. I hope you are.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, that's the kind of guest I like on the WrestleRoni. I appreciate the positivity. What's going on in your world today? How you living today?
Oh, today, not doing much of anything. Today was a chill day. No training, no bookings, and no work. So I've just laid around the house today.
Good for you. By God, you deserve it. You've been out there working your tail off. The fans can tell, I can tell. And only first match was, I believe, in August, right?
Yep, that's right.
Wow. Okay, so question number one, how does one blow up so quickly?
Uh, Putting in the work. I've really worked my tail off. I train twice a week. I take bookings as much as I can on the weekends. Constantly studying tape, figuring out ways to get my character to be better. I'm just constantly working.
Obviously, you are constantly working. Every time I look, there's another new flyer with Nurse Micah on there in another match wrestling and another opponent. It blows my mind, and that's kind of something I want to get into right off the bat here. You've been very lucky, very fortunate, very blessed to already gather such a social media presence. Folks have fallen in love with you already. Now, just in your own humble opinion, where does that come from? Do you have that many friends and family? Have you made that many fans? I mean, you have quite the social media following. So how does that happen?
I don't have that many friends and family, but they are a big part of my following. I've made a lot of friends along the way, and I've met a ton of fans along the way too. Even if I go out of state, there'll be one or two people that comes up and they'll get an autograph and want to follow me on social media. So that really means a lot to me that I can connect to fans like that.
Well, you have. I don't even know if you know the extent you have. For an independent wrestler, you're doing mighty, mighty well for yourself. You should be proud. You definitely should be proud. But like you say, you've been putting the work in. We'll get into that as well. But it's really blown my mind just to see. When I asked you before the interview, you said, your first match was in August. I said, man, how does she build up this social media so quickly? So something's there. You're connecting with folks. What do you think it is that brings that such a connection?
Um, I I'm pretty sure they can see my love for wrestling in my eyes. Like, as soon as I hit the curtain, they just know that I absolutely love being there.
For sure. I can tell it myself. I've been
Yep.
privileged enough to watch you 2 or 3 times now, and yeah, I say it all. The proof's in the pudding. You go out there, you work your ass off. You can tell you love what you do. You have some fun. How many promotions have you worked for since August? If you can give me a rough estimate.
Oh, goodness. So I'm going to have to count on my fingers here for
Well,
a little
hey,
bit.
name them off while you're counting them.
Okay. Well, I started at FTC in Kentucky.
Hmm.
That was my first match with Shauna Reed. And then I went to PWL, where I'm currently their women's champion.
Wow. Congrats.
Um, I've been to RSW, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Excited to be back there. I've done ASW. I've done BGW. I worked for Tiger Valley Wrestling Federation up in Elkins, West Virginia.
Okay.
I've done Southern States in Tennessee. I've also done Imperial Wrestling in Tennessee.
Nice.
I've done AIWF in North Carolina.
Okay.
Gosh, I feel like I'm missing a bunch here.
I put you on the spot. If any comes to mind down the line that you think deserve that need to be shouted out, by all means throw them out there. That was a kind of a rough question to ask somebody that's worked so many places. My goodness. So far, what's your favorite personal match that you've had? Do you have a favorite?
I do. It was my women's championship match. It was a Falls Count Anywhere with Talise Starseeker over at PWL.
Ooh. How'd that go? That sounds like a wild one. Starseeker going to be making her debut for RSW as well, so I'm curious in that. Any memories from that match you'd like to share?
Yeah, it was my first chair shot I had taken. It was my first outside bump I had taken. So
Ah.
it was a lot of fun. And then I was like, man, I enjoyed that. That was awesome. And the booker and the promoter there had done such a good job of building us up to where when we got to that Falls Count Anywhere, that it was just perfect.
So it sounds like the crowd ate it up too, huh?
Oh yes, they loved it, and I've gained such a huge following over there. It's just like I'm family. It's like I've been over there forever. So I really enjoyed that match.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So hitting you in the head with a chair and throwing you and bumping you all over the place, and you still came out with that women's championship, huh?
Yep.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. So sounds like Nurse Micah is not afraid to get a little hardcore if she got to, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Heck
I
yeah.
want more of those. Actually, I want more of those matches. So maybe that's in my future.
You hear that, Tim? Tim, rewind it. She says she wants more of it. I'll see what I can do. If that's something you really want in life, I'm sure we can arrange that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sounds good to me too. So, any other championships you're looking to go for here in the near future?
Um, Not in the near future as of now, but I want to hold them all. There's not a women's belt in West Virginia and the surrounding states that I don't want. It's definitely a goal of mine.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, let's say at the end of the day, the ultimate goal. What's the ultimate prize to Nurse Micah?
As far as championships,
Championship, contract, opportunity, whatever is the grand goal of it all.
contract, I would love a contract. Doesn't matter where. I always said that I wanted to go to AEW just so I can fight Britt Baker, doctor versus nurse.
There you go.
But anywhere. My goal is to be signed, and as soon as I started training, I knew I was training to be signed. And my trainer actually said, you don't train for matches, you train for contracts. So that's how I've been training since I've started training.
I like that. Who was your trainer?
I have two actually. It's Joey Nelson, he's Chance Prophet, and then Jason Kincaid.
Oh wow, okay. Okay, all right. So now I get it. I get everything makes perfect sense. You were in good hands to say the least.
Absolutely. Both of them are so wonderful.
Oh, for sure. While we're on them, put those guys all over all you can. Tell me all you can about the great Chance Prophet and the gift to Jason Kincaid.
Well, Chance Prophet, he's a wonderful man, both inside and out of the ring. You know, he teaches you to be a good person, regardless of if you're wrestling or if you're, just down the road. He teaches that, everything you do matters. The little things truly matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate that. His voice is in the back of my mind all the time when I'm thinking of little things.
For sure. I
Yeah.
can see that. And Jason the Gift Kincaid, I've watched him for years. Huge fan of his. I'm sure that dude's a blessing as well.
He's amazing. Everything he does is so smooth in the ring, and he really pushes us. Like, we see these fancy high flying moves or these, nice maneuvers, and I'm like, oh, I could never do that. He's like, yeah, you can, get in here. Like, you can try it. So he really, pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it's just awesome working with him. I've been doing a lot more sequences with him lately, and he makes me so much better. He makes me faster. He makes me think on my feet. I'm super appreciative to have Jason.
Oh yeah. Wow. Well, you're definitely on the right path with those two training you. I can go on all day. I've watched both of them. Man, I'd like to say probably 20 years. Yeah, probably both of them I've watched for 20 years on the independent scene, and couldn't be happier for both of them. They're both killing it still to this day. So, like I say, you were definitely in good hands with them. What made you decide, well, I think I'll give this a go? Is this something you've known since you was a kid, or how does that love affair start?
Yes, I've always been a huge wrestling fan. It was always a big deal in my house, and it stems from my uncle. He was a professional wrestler in West Virginia. He went by Big Bob McCoy.
Okay.
So he influenced my sister to watch it. So once I got of age and could figure out what was going on, I was all about it. And at the time, it was the Attitude Era. So it was all The Rock and Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
So, my family, it was a given that we would be watching wrestling, whether it would be down the road, because my uncle used to, I'm originally from Maine, West Virginia, so he would wrestle at the high school. We'd go down and watch him, or we would be on TV watching wrestling, and it just never left. I know once I got older, I was like, I'm going to go to nursing school and all this, but in the back of my mind, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. So one day I'm just sitting there and I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I'm in a meeting that is just so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see the Power Slam Academy, and I'm like, I think this is my sign. So immediately I messaged the profile and got in contact with Joey, got myself set up for a tryout that ended up being on my birthday. And
Oh, okay.
so
And we're off to the
I'm so
races from
happy I
there, huh?
finally went. What was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said we're off to the races from there, huh?
Oh, yes, for sure.
That's awesome. So you see it scrolling through Facebook, you take it as your sign, and I totally get those moments. Any pro wrestling fan, pro wrestler, anybody involved with wrestling, they know about these magical signs you get, and so I definitely get what you're saying on that. I can relate to that much at least. And so then you go through this intense training, and also as a kid, you knew you wanted to be a nurse as well. So I mean, we're shooting from the stars. Big dreams as a kid, right?
Yeah. Um, Actually, I didn't. I figured, I was like, well, I'll go to nursing school when I was in high school. But throughout elementary school and, middle school, it was all, oh no, I'm going to be a professional wrestler.
Okay, okay. So you were smart
Yeah.
enough to know I've got to have a backup plan as well.
Right. And it worked out in my favor.
Heck yeah, two tough fields to get into. How does one balance the two? How does that even start to be possible?
I my nursing, I've pretty much got a handle on it to where it's just like pretty much everyday stuff for me now. Like it's routine. Of course, things will happen here and there. It kind of knocks me off my tracks with nursing, but I mean, it's nothing I can't handle. As far as wrestling, I've put a lot of focus into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much all I see now. But I mean, there's multiple times that I have to bring my nursing skill set to the people that I'm either working with or they're on that show or that I'm training with them because they're always asking me, do you think I got a concussion or something like that?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very good point there. I'm sure that's going to come in handy down the road too. You don't have to name names or anything, but what do you think's been the most extreme circumstance so far where they've looked at you for some sort of medical advice?
I'll go ahead and name him out
Okay.
because it's Casey Huffman, actually.
Uh-huh.
He was doing a this was a tables match with Jeff Paul over at PWL, and I was Casey's manager. And he took a hard bump to the concrete. Like,
Alrighty. So you was telling me about Huff Manley and the tables. It was Huff Manley, right?
yes, it was.
Okay. Alrighty. So he goes through a table?
No, actually, his opponent went through the table, but during the match, he had got a pretty gnarly bump to the outside. It was like a concrete wall,
Mm.
and he had sliced his eye, like right above his eyebrow, straight open.
Ooh. Ouch. Okay, so you came in handy there, huh?
I did, yeah. Got him cleaned up as good as I could, and they were like, "Do you think he needs to go to the ER for stitches?" I'm like, "Yep, it's a wide cut." So he got to the ER and got taken care of. I know they were joking. They were like, "You should just go ahead and stitch him up here." I was like, "Well, I could if I had a suture kit."
What about I know Sabu, he always used crazy glue. I mean, can we recommend that if worse it comes to worse?
I wouldn't.
That's why I wanted to ask the professionals.
Yeah, I would not.
Well, there, you heard it here. Quit doing like Sabu. Quit using the crazy glue. Nurse Micah said so. I appreciate that. Is there any other instances where your medical expertise came in handy?
I get a lot of the concussions. So I have my cell phone out because I don't have a pen light on me to check their pupils. So I always have my cell phone flashlight on, checking their pupils, asking them random questions like, "What's your name? What day is it? Who's the president?" Just to
Mm,
make sure that they're not losing any consciousness in their brain or they don't have a concussion or anything like that.
gotcha. Yeah, scary stuff. Yeah, what you
Yeah.
guys do, it's not for everyone, that's for sure. So, yeah. Well, and also a Christmas recommendation to folks, friends, fellow co-workers of Nurse Micah. Sounds like you give her a pin light, it might come in handy for you one day, right?
Right. Yep. I need one in my gym bag that I take to all my bookings.
There you go. And some needle and thread, but maybe.
That too. Yep.
Maybe.
A first aid kit would do. That would be perfect.
Well, yeah, probably every every promotion you work for should just get you your own personal first aid kit for that promotion, I would assume.
Yep. That sounds like a good idea.
Wow, it's just that is major props to you for both being a nurse and a professional wrestler, both very demanding jobs, and sounds like you're holding it down. Sounds like you're mentally stable, and sounds like you're happy. So, are you happy?
Very. Yeah, I get to do everything that I love. I love nursing and I love wrestling, and I get to do both. So I'm extremely happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's just go into hypotheticals here because you got me thinking now. WWE says, here's your contract. And we're going to give you this contract because we know you're a wrestler, but we also know about your nursing experience. And we kind of need somebody on call at the Performance Center for that. So you can't wrestle for the next 7 years, but you can hang out at the performance center and maybe do some training and be on hand in case we need some medical advice or anything. Do you take them up on that and lose 7 years of wrestling?
I'm not going to do that. No,
Nope.
I love to be in the ring.
Okay, I like that. Okay, very, very okay. I'm not going to say good answer because who am I to say, but I enjoyed it. I like that. So, quite the dedication to wrestling, quite the love. What women's wrestlers did you used to look up to, and who in the scene today currently influences you?
Um, I was a huge Trish Stratus fan growing up. I wanted to be just like her. I know once I got a little bit older, I ended up really enjoying Maurice. I thought that the way she carried herself, she was just the perfect heel. So I really enjoyed her.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now, it's absolutely the Doctor. Britt Baker is extremely inspiring because she gets the best of both worlds too. She gets to go to her office and be a dentist, but she also gets to be a professional wrestler. So that was really inspiring to me. I was basically like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it.
There you go. I like that. And from what you're telling me, you've liked a lot of heels. Have you ever worked heel in your career yet?
I've done my debut was a heel. I've done a little bit of heel, but they love me as the baby face.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're just too much of a sweetheart. It's just not gonna. Yeah, I got you. I understand. Okay, well, let's say the opportunity comes down the road here in a few years. What would you take advantage of the opportunity to be a heel champion and just cheat at every turn and make some kids cry? Maybe not that extreme, but maybe make some grown men cry.
Now I've used my stethoscope to cheat before. I've choked them out before with it, so I could definitely do it again.
Ha ha! By any means necessary. There we go. So now, okay, well, we got a stethoscope we can use. Uh, what else could we use in a wrestling match if you're a nurse? Any other ideas that we could throw to help you cheat here?
Yeah. Well, we got the first aid kit on its own. There's all kinds of good stuff in there.
Okay, right.
And the first aid kit itself is just a, good hit to the back of the head and it's over. 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction, but we could be on to something here. No doubt. Yeah, that might be a plan there. Stethoscope and, like you say, all the stuff in the first aid kit. Throw some powder in somebody's face. Who knows what that powder is? You might kill them.
Right.
Okay, all right. Who are we looking at on the RSW roster? Who would you like to get in the ring with in RSW, if anyone?
RSW, Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one myself. Okay, well, I know you work babyface, but we was talking about cheating. If you had the opportunity, there's no first aid kit, of course not in RSW, but if you had the opportunity, referees down, and you know you can take her out, what would you do if worse comes to worse and you had to beat Honey Badger?
I'm gonna go get a chair.
Okay.
Ref's out, he ain't seeing it, so I'm gonna go get me a chair.
The old tried and true method. It works, by God.
Yep.
I would like to see that down the pike. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see you against Ruthless Lala one of these days. I hate to do that to you, but I think you could handle yourself in there with her. What about
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I'm down to wrestle anyone. The more opponents I get, the more experienced I get to learn different styles. So I would love to. It doesn't matter who it is. I just want to wrestle.
Heck yeah. Well, that brings up a good point. What's your feelings on intergender wrestling and getting in there with a man mixing it up?
I'm totally fine with that. I wrestle at training. I do a lot of practice matches with the guys, and I really enjoy it. They make me bring out a lot in myself as far as, being stronger and, taking harder bumps because they hit harder and, they go faster. So they definitely, make me more well-rounded.
I got you. That makes sense. I like that. Okay. And besides your trainers, Chance Profit, Jace Kincaid, who would be the ideal opponent on the independent scene? Who would be your dream opponent when it comes to male opponents?
Let me think about this
Yeah.
one.
Or non-binary. I just know we already covered the females, so whoever it may be. I'd like to see you go in there with Billy Knox and straighten him out.
I could do that, absolutely.
Somebody needs to crack him upside the head. He's getting kind of full of himself.
Yep, I can. I actually managed his match against
Okay.
Saturday Night. Yeah, I was with the Saturday Night Special Boys.
Yeah, so we do have a little bit of beef going there.
Yep, so that works perfect.
So what's that like trying to manage the Saturday night special?
Yeah, like you said, it's trying.
did, did they get you into any trouble before or after the show?
No, they just put me in the, where the sponsors, the strippers, that shirt. They're like, here, you have to wear this. And I said, all right, guys.
uh, I hate to blow their cover for what appears to be a couple sleazeballs, two of the sweetest, coolest guys in the world. I'm sorry, guys,
They
but
are.
I had to say it. So you've got some managing experience under your belt as well. Did you do? Did you kind of to get the feel for things? Did you do some managing before you wrestled?
I didn't.
No.
I
Okay.
got to my match over at PWL in Princeton, and they're like, "Oh, you can manage Casey," and I'm like, or have Manley. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go out there." And he
Hmm.
managed mine, and I ended up managing his. And ever since then, I had done a little bit of managing. I know we talked about being heels, like being a heel. I'm actually a heel in BGW's promotion, and I'm a part of a heel faction there. So I get to manage as a heel there.
Oh,
It's a lot of fun.
awesome. Okay. What's this faction down?
It is the Jeff Paul World Order. So
Okay. And what region's this out of?
this is in Hurricane, West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Down Southwest Virginia. How many wrestling feds they got down there now? Like 72? And that's not a bad thing. That's not me talking shit. Like, there's a lot of wrestling down in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah, there is. There's quite a few, yeah, and there's a couple that's not running right now that's previously run. So I guess we'll see where they're at in the next few months or years. Or, but yeah, there is a lot.
There is, yeah, there is definitely. Like I say, that's not a bad thing in my book at all. But shoot, if I could start up a wrestling company tomorrow and pay enough people, I'd do it in a heartbeat. The more the merrier, I say. Competition, right? Competition makes everybody work a little harder.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
And speaking of competition, nowadays with the internet, it's not like the old territories. By goodness, we can watch Hawaii, we can watch Portland, we can watch whatever. How do you feel the internet's helped your career?
Definitely got me seen to promoters and stuff like that. I feel like I do constantly compare myself, so it's a good thing. I'm seeing these girls that's been wrestling a couple years, and I'm like, no, I have to be as good as they are right now with my experience. So it definitely has helped me in many ways.
Awesome. That makes sense, definitely. And any who's some of the girls you've seen that's just a few years ahead of you and kind of inspired you to move to their spot?
Danny Moe. It actually surprised me how short of a time she's been doing it, and I was like, "Wow, she's incredible! Like, I have to get
Mm-hmm.
to her level, like
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow."
Wow. Danny Moe, amazing. Her and Facade been a huge fan. huge fan of the Neon Blondes. Have you had a chance to work with her?
I haven't, not yet, but it's definitely something that I would love to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'd like to see that one as well. We're setting up all kinds of matches over here. How about you versus Danny Moe versus Billy Knox?
I'll take that.
Oh my.
That sounds wonderful.
We just sold a pay-per-view here, by goodness. Does. That sounds awesome to me. That sounds awesome. And just thinking about where you've been, where have you going? You seem like you're happy with everything. So I'm just rattling here to think where I would like to go next. Inspired by Danny Moe, seeing other folks on the internet you like. Uh, so, are you happy with what the independent scene looks like right now? Do you think there's changes that need to be made, or?
I'm still a little new to kind of, judge,
For sure, for sure, yeah,
but
'cause
I'm sure once I get into it, I'll, contest for that.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Um, Whenever you started training, because I know you said you was into the Attitude Era, did you watch any independent wrestling before you started training?
I didn't. I had completely almost neglected the independent scene until I started training. I had watched a couple independent matches, but it was when I was like way younger.
Gotcha.
I actually remember my trainer, Chance Profit, it was in Gilbert, and I was, I think, 10 years old, and I had remembered him because he had made such an impact in the ring. I remembered him for so many years.
Yep, yep. Since you said that, T Rantula I bring him up every episode if I can, because growing up going to indie shows, T Rantula, man, I saw T Rantula on every show. There was Johnny Blast, there was oh shoot, Chance Prophet, Jace Kincaid. Shoot, I could go on all day. A lot of the guys you see in RSW now, Desmond Vance. So, yeah, we've been really blessed here in West Virginia. A lot of good local homegrown talent for sure. And leaving West Virginia, what other states have you competed in so far?
I've been in Kentucky, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and Tennessee.
Wow. It's just,
And North Carolina. I forgot North Carolina.
wow. Okay. What other states would you like to work?
I really want to go to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
There's some really, big promotions and stuff up through that way, and I'd like to get in Pennsylvania's independent scene. Also, Georgia's independent scene as well.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. There's two good scenes. Pennsylvania, I'm a big fan, always have been, of the Pennsylvania scene. And Georgia, that's nothing to sleep on either. Like, there's a lot of good stuff going on down south. So I hope that happens for you sooner than later. Have you thought about tag team wrestling? Who would make the perfect tag partner for Nurse Micah? Or are you just looking out for you right now?
Um, I would love some tag team wrestling. I have been doing like here and there tag team matches, but not as like as pretty much a stable tag team. I haven't done that yet. Um, there's a girl with a scientist gimmick, I believe, somewhere. So I don't know much about her, but I think we'd make a heck of a tag team just with our gimmicks.
I love it. Yeah, no
I've
doubt.
been told about her by like a couple of promoters. I'm like, who is this girl? Like, we need to be a tag team, a scientist and a nurse. It works.
No doubt. Any listeners of the show, leave it in the comments. Let me look into this, and like I say, I can get into some promoters' ears that I know. Maybe we can make this happen one day. So, yeah, it looks like you're mainly focused on a singles run, and that's great because obviously you already got a title under your belt already in year one. So that's something you shouldn't take lightly. I'm sure you don't. That definitely should inspire you to want more. I'm sure you want more.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I'm just thinking down the road. Said, the dream is to get a contract and everything. Would you like to go to Japan and compete?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You watch much of the Joshi stuff over there?
I do. Um,
Yeah, they go over there.
yes, they do. That is a whole different level of professional wrestling, and I want it. I want to be a part of it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, the sky's the limit. We both know that. The sky's the limit. So definitely hope to see you in Japan soon. We're, like I say, we're going into year 2 next year, so I'm setting up all these plans for you. You're doing just fine. You're riding the wave, riding the momentum, doing great. What are we looking at in 2023? What's the goal in 2023?
I want to hopefully get out there enough to where I'm, catching the attention of, the people with the contracts, the promotions with the contracts, and I want to definitely win more championships too. I want to and then I want to make myself an absolute solid worker. Like I want to be, when they hear Nurse Micah, they're like, "Oh, she can do everything. She's extremely versatile. She can, be heel. She can be babyface. She can do all these different styles." I want to be so well rounded that I just want to be pretty much undeniable.
Awesome. I like that. Good. Good. I definitely like that. I'm looking on Facebook. I did ask for fan questions, and my apologies in advance. Whatever I asked, if they shoot me a question, I promise to ask. So bear with me here. Let's see what we've got set up for you. Hopefully, nothing too crazy. We know how the internet is, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm looking through now. Well, I'm looking for the fan question. Any crazy wrestling stories, road stories, anything you can share with my audience?
There's crazy stuff I feel like that happens all the time.
For sure.
There's always like, that little tiny thing that'll happen that's absolutely insane. At pretty much every show. It never fails.
I'm learning. I'm definitely learning. Yeah, I've already accumulated quite the story collection myself. Alrighty. Here comes one from a fan known as William York. And who is your favorite cowboy in wrestling, and why is it Willie Storm?
Well, it's not Willie Storm. It's actually Hangman Adam Page.
Well, fair enough. Sorry, sorry, Willie. I mean, when you're competing with Adam Page, buddy, with all due respect, by all means, with all due respect. He tried, bless his heart.
Yeah, he did.
And, and he's doing his thing in RSW. I'll give him his due. He's definitely turning some heads himself.
Yep. Yeah,
And
he's a good worker.
for sure, a very solid worker. Rhinestone Cowboys forever. I know I have another one here. I'm a looking. I know I have it. This one comes from Mark. I can never pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. And I might have asked you this, so if I did, then we already have the answer. Your dream opponent, and you said Britt Baker, huh?
Yep.
Well, we already covered it. We didn't need your help, Mark. So there's that. All right. So we've covered dream opponent, goals for 2023. Looking back, what's some of the favorite memories you've had besides winning the championship? Just as far as when you look back at what you've done so far in wrestling.
Had a match. It was in All-Star Wrestling in Madison, West Virginia, which is really close to where my hometown is in Man, maybe 45 minutes away. And when I got there, I was at my gimmick table. I'm signing autographs, and I see all these familiar faces, and it's crazy. People that have never watched wrestling in their life had just come to see me. Old coworkers, current coworkers, people I used to play sports with in high school, people I just went to high school with, people I went to college with. It was just crazy. I'm like, wow, they, all come out just to see me. They're not even wrestling fans. So that was definitely it was very heartwarming for me.
For sure. I can relate. We're both from West Virginia. The people in West Virginia, when you know the right people, when you know the good people, there's no other like them. You've got friends and family for life. I can relate. RSW started running Monongah, so I'm pretty much the ambassador here. I'm right here in Monongah promoting the shows. People were coming out. I'm seeing them at the shows. And I'm definitely not on your level. I'm not getting in the ring taking bumps, but it's cool to see people I know just knowing that I brought them to wrestling. That's a very cool feeling. So, definitely good stuff. Good stuff. Like I say, you're on the right track. You're killing it. For the young ladies listening, any words of inspiration, even if they don't want to be a wrestler, just
Yeah.
what can you tell them so they can achieve their dreams or at least just live a happy life?
Follow your dreams. If you want to do it, go do it. I know with wrestling, everybody was like, oh, you're never going to make it, or why would you want to do that? You're going to get hurt and all these things. But you just have to put those negative things aside and go straight for your dreams.
Yep. I appreciate that more than you know. That's something I tell the people every episode, and it's never too late. I'm almost 40 years old, and here I am finally in the wrestling business, talking to fine folks like Nurse Mika, and it's never too late to live your dreams. No matter how young, old, if you want to get into wrestling and you're like me and you're not quite the athlete, then maybe you can do a silly podcast. Or maybe you can run a camera. Maybe you can referee. There's plenty of outlets in pro wrestling. If pro wrestling's not your thing and you want to be a musician, give it a try. You're exactly right. Just go for it. Do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a little older myself. I'm 25 now. So I feel like I've lived a whole other life and then come to wrestling, but I couldn't be happier. And when I was scrolling through Facebook, I was like, my time's now. Because I had been debating it for 2-3 years. I'm like, am I going to do it? And then finally I'm like, here it is. I'm going.
And look how far you've come already. So again, but hard work was required, was it not?
Absolutely. Yes. It's still required. It doesn't end. It never ends. What you think once you take the bookings, you can slack off training. It doesn't work that way. If you want to be the best and you want to have a contract, you still have to go and work your tail off for 4 hours at training and then do your bookings on the weekend. So,
oh yeah.
And then in between that, you got to tape study as well to, get different ideas of moves and character concepts and such.
Oh yeah, especially if you're looking for that contract. The believe me, there's a big ocean with a lot of fish in it right now.
Yeah,
You have to put the work in.
absolutely. Yes.
For sure. I definitely respect the hell out of what you're doing. You're putting your nose to the grindstone. You're doing it. You're living your dreams. It's the kind of folks we want on the show. It's the kind of folks we want in RSW. Before I take too much more of your time, before I let you free to live your wild, amazing life, anything that you want to promote, any shows coming up, any socials you want them to follow, any merch you want them to buy, the platform's yours to do whatever you like with.
Be sure to follow Nurse Mika on Facebook. I am at _Nurse Mika on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I have merch available, so if you want one of my shirts, I don't mean to brag, but they are pretty cool. I have 2 designs. You just shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy to get them shipped out. That goes for any autographs or anything like that too. You just send me a message. I'm more than happy to ship anything out.
Awesome. It's definitely been a pleasure. It's an inspiration. If it doesn't inspire you, I don't know what's wrong with you. Both a nurse and a wrestler, says, hey, I'm going to do it. She's doing it. Living proof that you can live your dreams if you work your ass off. I've been Spooky Lou, joined by the one and only Nurse Mika. It has been a pleasure, ma'am. I tell y'all to live your dreams, treat each other nice, be fair, be kind. Tune in for the next episode. We got some great stuff lined up, and buy you some Nurse Mika shirts. I mean, come on. Right?
Right, absolutely.
I thank you, and you guys enjoy your evening.
Friday, October 28th at the Phil Gaynor Center, 7 p.m., Elkins, West Virginia. Consider it your luckiest day ever as you get to see Nurse Mika in action with TVWF for the very first time. Sydney Powers and Tiara Gray, I know you both like the back of my hand. And every time you step in the ring with me, you lose. So what makes you think that this time would be any different? It won't. I will go on and win the Dave Hebner Memorial Tournament. I will go on and win the Women's Championship. And Allure from the Asylum, your days as the top female competitor of TVWF are over. You are looking at the new face of the women's division, Nurse Mika.